Here we are with Lysandra James on West of the Page. And Lysandra, we are quickly going to tell the audience how we stole you. So we Lysandra is one of our Radiance Books authors, and we actually I have personally known Lysandra for probably about 10 years. We live in the same state. We were at writing conferences together, and I think we were editors together at a small press at one point.
I think so, yeah.
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 So we've been just in similar circles for a long time. And then at Superstars Writing, I introduced you to Ronan Weatherford Publishing. And then that was kind of that. Like, I knew you talked to them. And then suddenly I had found out that they requested your book. And then they took you on at over in the fantasy imprint Dragonbray.
Yeah.
But then it was probably a year later, Sabina and I started reshaping Radiance to what we really wanted it to be. We wanted it to be books for women, by women, about women, and that included fantasy, romance, historical, upmarket, literary, everything. And we were like, oh, we want to steal Lysandra from Dragonbray. So we did. And here we are.
I'm not complaining because I'm absolutely thrilled to be able to work with the both of you, actually. Just absolutely thrilled.
It's been really, really fun. And yeah, so we've got some questions for you, things that over the 10 years I don't think we've talked about before.
So every author has an origin story, right?
Okay.
And what kicked yours off? What was the moment you thought, okay, fine, I'll write a whole book?
I don't even know. It just happened. It was soon after I graduated high school, actually. I was just every night started writing a story, and I actually finished that story. It will never see the light of day. It's absolutely horrible. So, yeah, I caught the writing bug early when I was a little kid, sharing a room with my sister. We would stay up late, and of course, and I would make up stories, just lying there and staring up at the ceiling at night. So I guess writing has always been in my blood.
So what's the first spark behind Truthtaker? What was your first inkling of, oh, I have to write the story? Was it A Frozen World? Was it the Regency?
Okay, I binge read Regency romance like no other. So it's one of my favorite time frames. But it was actually during the pandemic, and I needed to write. I don't know, one of those things I just had to write. And my main character told me her full name. It was Lilia, Agathena, Faith. Oh my gosh, how many? She's got 5 names. Last name Pennyworth, but and she was a lady, and I can envision her in this carriage, going down the road to do something magical, and it came from there. And I actually started writing it on one of my typewriters, and very quickly learned I will never write a full book on a typewriter because my fingers get really tired really quick.
I know you have a collection of typewriters. Do you share those over on your Instagram account?
I've shared one, Junior, which actually is right there on my shelf behind me. I have 6 other typewriters, 2 Lego typewriters, and a typewriter-shaped label maker, as well as my keyboard is a typewriter keyboard, and it does go clicky clicky. Oh, I like yours too.
So that is a fun thing I know about you, is that you love typewriters.
I do, and all of my typewriters have names.
That's awesome.
I don't know if I knew that. So
yeah,
we'll save that for your Instagram. You'll go introduce people to your to your typewriters. But I know Sabina wants to get us back over to Truthtaker.
Well, no, I was going to say, I have a Lego typewriter in a box still, so I got to put it together so I can kind of be part of this.
You do. If it's the big green one, it is
the little pink one. It's just the little pink one. So it's really easy to put together. I'm sure it's like 300 pieces.
That's a good one too. I have one. I have that one too.
Lilia Pennyworth is equal parts fierce, lonely, and reluctant to deal with other people's nonsense.
Yeah.
And so what do you love most about writing her, and what made you want to shape her?
I actually have loved writing her journey from becoming, from being alone and not scared of the world, but not part of the world, right? She's separate from the world. And I love her journey where she gains these comrades and friends, and she grows into her strength, because she's got a strength, an inner strength that she doesn't know exists until, she's forced to confront it. And that's what I really, really loved about it, was just seeing her progression.
Character arcs for the win, right?
Oh my gosh, they're the best. They're the best.
So I mentioned when we first started chatting tonight that we're kind of reshaping Radiance to be, and not all of our books are for women by women, but that's kind of where we're kind of guiding it. Like there are going to be a lot. And your book has a matriarchy, which is like, that should be the flagship book for Radiance right now. So tell us a little bit about this matriarchy.
Okay. So Truthtaker, it's a group of people who have been magically displaced from the Regency era to the end of the Ice Age. So they're cut off from all civilization. Obviously, they're coming from a patriarchal society, but during the displacement, a new magic is introduced, a magic that only women wield, and it can only impact men. And it gives women like this ability to be able to control men in some, in certain ways. But anyway, this disrupts the balance of power that had always existed. And because one of the powers, or the magics that have been introduced, can negatively impact men, women who wield this power naturally have, oh my gosh, words are not coming. But they naturally succeed in the hierarchy, So, okay. Yeah. And that trickles down through all of society. And so you're going to see that households have more of a matriarchal standing, and the government and everything.
So because the magic kind of drives the men a little bonkers.
Yes, it does.
What inspired that? Like, that is just like so chaotic but awesome. Like, what inspired that?
I honestly don't know. It's one of those things that's just kind of brewing around in my brain, and half the time when I'm writing stuff, I don't know it's going to come out until it actually does. So I love my subconscious.
You're a pantser, not a plotter.
No, I am actually a plotter.
Okay.
With, maybe more of a hybrid. More of a hybrid, I think.
Maybe pants it a little bit first and then plot around it. Or vice versa.
Okay, so you talked about how they are displaced from the Regency era to the end of the Ice Age. So it's called New London. Yeah. So it's full of people who cling to the idea of old England, right?
So there's actually two different factions in society. So there's the ones that cling to the old ways, who want to stay more traditional. They don't really believe in the magic, even though it's very prevalent. They put these, metaphorical blinders on to, right. And they don't want to do any progressive changes to society at all. And that includes colonization away from the place that they were displaced, because they believe that they can find the lost passage that will take them back home. So, yeah, they are still very patriarchal based in their thinking and in their actions. Whereas we have the more progressive, they call themselves the Novationists. And they're more about, let's actually create a world, or, let's shape our culture based on this new world that we live in. And so let's colonize, let's expand, let's do things to move society forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And both of them have their strengths and both have their weaknesses, and you're going to have extremists in both. So, yeah.
I love, like, there's just so much going on in this book, and still being in Regency, like, theme. But there's you're juggling danger and magic and a slow burn romance and this icy world. How do you balance the high stakes with those swoony moments that the readers will dog-ear the pages about?
This is where the plotting comes into play. Because I am obsessed with plotting structures and systems and techniques. And so my plotting system is a mix of 7-point story structure, Save the Cat, Hero's Journey. I've got a whole bunch of other ones, they're all kind of, and then also, oh my gosh, what is it called? Romancing the Beat?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And so I actually utilize the Romancing the Beat beats within my within my outline, my plotting structure, so that I'm actually hitting those correctly.
We're kind of backtracking a little bit, but I wanted to talk a little bit about your world building and your setting, because this is fantasy. And fantasy is my first love, So your setting is basically Lost Ship meets Eternal Winter meets Accidental New Civilization. So how on earth did this world first form in your imagination?
That's another thing I just really don't know. A lot of the basic ideas behind Truthtaker and that formed Truthtaker happened during the pandemic. And unfortunately, I did deal with a lot of trauma, emotional trauma during that time. And so and I also have been through cancer and chemo and all of that. And chemo brain is a very real thing. And so I don't really remember a lot of what initially inspired some of this.
We know that you have several more books coming out, and I would love for you to talk about the next book, which is part of a series.
Okay, the next book is actually the one that I accidentally pitched, and got this whole publishing journey started with Ronan Weatherford. It is Freeing the Muse. It's a story where the Greek gods, they were phonies. The muses were the real power behind the magic. And so, they get themselves in trouble. Obviously, after the fall of Troy, they all get magically displaced to 1940s small town America, where, of course, chaos ensues there as well. It kind of settles down for a little bit. About 80 years later, our main character comes into the scene, and she is a breast cancer survivor. And she's cracking open Pandora's box, I guess is a good way to put it. But she stumbles upon their secrets, and all sorts of things start to happen again. It's great.
Did you come up with Freeing the Muse out of your journey with breast cancer, or was that something that just organically appeared as you were writing it?
So Freeing the Muse was actually oh my gosh. Once upon a time, I was at a writer's conference, and there was this workshop with a very, very famous author running it. And he asked for people to share some story or come up with some story ideas right on the spot. and share, we had to come up with 3 story ideas. And then he asked for volunteers to share. And me being me, I'm just like, I'll do it. Okay. So I shared my idea. I think it was something along the lines where a photographer goes on a journey or on a road trip to rediscover her muse and ends up discovering a secret that's life-changing or world-changing, right? Something along those lines. And this author, he's like, oh, that's really good. That's really good. And we kept going. But he comes back a little while later and he goes, I can't stop thinking about that story idea. I'll pay $100 for it. And I'm like, hold on. That's my story idea. No.
Yeah.
And he did that a couple more times during the workshop. And then finally at the end of the workshop, he's like, okay, here's the deal. I'm going to give you a statute of limitations and you have 3 years to write this story or I'm going to take your story idea. And because I am who I am, I wrote it as a short story and had it published within a year. The Freeing the Muse prologue is actually a remaking of that short story. And it just kind of went from there.
It was basically born from, I want your story. And you were like, no, it's mine.
I wrote it out of spite.
I love it.
But the main character having breast cancer, that did come after my own cancer journey. And so a lot of what she experienced in her cancer story is very, very similar to what I experienced, because they say, write what you know. And that is something I very, very much knew. It was very cathartic writing it. And I really do feel like cancer survivors and those who are going through it can actually identify with that character because of it. And I don't feel like cancer patients, cancer survivors are portrayed accurately in a lot of stories because people haven't been there, done that. They don't know what it feels like to actually be there and experience all of the things.
I knew you before and I know you after, and you're still, you can tell your battle scars, but you wear them beautifully. So I am really excited for Freeing the Muse to come out. You have a recurring theme of people being displaced.
Yes.
So let's just talk a little bit about that. That's fascinating to me. I love time travel. Feels like time travel.
Really is. It is time travel. It's where people are magically displaced from one time and place to another time and place. So with Truthtaker, they're being displaced from the Regency era. It's actually a ship traveling on the ocean, displaced to a landlocked lake in the end of the Ice Age. And then in Freeing the Muse, they're being displaced from ancient Greece to 1940s small town America. But I like taking it from that point of displacement and advancing it, decades or even centuries later, so that you can see how the culture, the society has evolved.
This might be another one where you're like, I don't even know, but where did that concept come from?
That one was actually Freeing the Muse is what inspired that concept.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was the displacement where the gods were the phonies and the muses were the real power, and and how did they end up there? How did they end up, in an antique store in a small town in America? Well, this is how they did it.
So was it harder to send people back in time with Truthtaker, where you're going back to the Ice Age, or forward, where we have muses who obviously have some type of magical powers coming?
So if you're talking about, was it difficult for the magic system to do it? That's going to be answered in another book down the line.
Okay.
I have literally at least a dozen books planned for this universe.
I'm
Where
thinking more of your characters. Is it harder for people who have had some, Regency doesn't have a lot of technology, but some things going back to an Ice Age type civilization, or
I don't know. Honestly, they're both gonna have challenges because one, you're regressing in technology, which is why even though Truthtaker takes place 300 years past the displacement, technology really hasn't advanced that much because they have to figure out all these things again because they don't have the resources. But then again, the muses muses and the Greek gods, they're being they're being thrown millennia into the future, having to navigate a brand new world with new sciences and stuff that for them would have been magic back in their day. It would have come, arriving here would have been completely overwhelming and overstimulating and could drive them mad. So
You have a gigantic world building brain.
I do. I often joke that I can't hold anything in my brain because I've got worlds worth of information in there already.
Yes. Final question.
Okay.
I actually have two questions.
Okay.
One can be really quick. When you displace your Greek gods and everything to 1940s America, are you going to be writing about World War II?
So they actually do. I think this is in the story because I am rereading it right now so that I can write the next book in that series. But they arrive on V-Day at the very end of World War II.
Okay.
And so they're coming from the end of one war to the end of another. And I always thought that was like really poetic, and I loved how that played out. So yeah.
Very cool. Have you ever read Lovely War by, I think her name is Julie Berry?
No, I haven't, but I'll put it on my to be read list.
It's the Greek gods, and they're narrating basically love stories from World War I, but they're narrating them during World War II. It blows my mind. It's beautiful, beautiful book, but sounds like it would be like a good shelf mate to yours. So
maybe. I'm gonna have to write it down.
Final question, because we can't not talk about the romance. We have to talk about the romance in Truth.
Yes, please.
So tell us who the crush is.
His name is Davin Bradford, and he. Oh my gosh. He has to step in and take care of things because his mother is special. She's more interested in the frivolities of life rather than actually taking care of what needs to be done. And so he has to step up and take care of it, even though it is a matriarchal society. Just because I am a firm believer that just because somebody is male or female or, certain age or certain whatever, that doesn't qualify them to be in a position of authority. I think a position of authority should be based on skill set and, those kinds of qualities. And so, he does have to step in and take over these roles that in his world aren't traditionally for men. And he doesn't love it. He doesn't love being held back, and he doesn't love having to submit to his mother's whims, including wanting to be called Mimi instead of mother. Yeah, she's a hoot. She's a hoot. So I do try to give depth to both of my love interests. So my female main character, my male main character, so that they are both well-rounded and have their own ambitions and dreams and goals. And and have their own character arcs. And he does. He learns to, he goes from suppressing his voice to keep from making waves to learning how to harness that voice to be able to do what needs to be done.
So it sounds like if you are a fan of fantasy and romance and strong female characters and strong male characters, that this is the book for you. So thank you so much for hanging out with us, Lysandra. It's always fun to see you.
Oh, I love seeing you too.